What is the cheapest thing behavior you've done to save extra money? The local supermarket has trolleys that take $1 to be used and give back the dollar when you return it. Extra incentive to return the trolley. But I live in a well-off area and a lot of people still don't bother. I started visiting every night about 1 AM and managed to make about $10 a night. It paid for groceries until I finally got a job. Easy money. Well done. Not eat before drinking so I get plastered faster and save money at bars. This is a regular occurrence. We used to donate plasma before a night of drinking to get drunk quicker. I'm out of a job right now and quite tight on funds, so if I need to convince myself I'm not hungry, I'll either chug water and chew gum or fall asleep. You should really check out food pantry food banks. No one should have to go hungry. Last year at the cafeteria at my university I had a meal plan where I could go whenever I wanted 5 days of the week. I found out through trial and error I could sneak out 5 oranges per visit. I'd like to read about the error part of this. I used to be extremely poor and had to do all kinds of stuff just to get by. One of the more significant things was specifically choosing to work food service jobs because I got to eat for free. I had multiple jobs simultaneously most of the time. I would work my schedules so that I could work 2 places in the same night. Instead of taking a single 8-hour shift at one place, I would choose 2 4-hour shifts in separate places. This allowed me to get 2 meals. I'd eat one and save one. Saved me tons of money. I also registered as a commuter when I went to college so I didn't have to pay room and board. I slept in my car the first semester. I made friends with the librarian and slept there part of second semester. Started staying with girlfriends after that. Someone in college who lived in the dorms told me they would carry an empty roll and steal toilet paper from restaurants and places nearby. Just go into a stall and wind yourself a TP roll. During college I shared a house with some friends and one day one of them came back with a year's supply of TP that he took from the bathrooms on campus. They were the big rolls too, the kind you only see in public bathrooms. One time I donated blood in college with a bunch of people before we went to a bar. To be fair, I was going to donate blood anyways, but a cheap buzz was a nice add-on. I once donated blood just because it came with a free sandwich and I was really hungry. Senior year of college. Had one of my friends with a meal plan swipe me into the cafeteria. Emptied out my book bag beforehand and filled it with Tupperware containers bags. Proceeded to food shop. Also senior year of college. Worked at a fast food place. I asked my manager if I could take home mistake sandwiches and dipping sauces. Also made salads that I used as my vegetables for the week. My 2 college roommates and I used to do this at our school. We would rotate who had to do it each few days. We also lived in a 1-bedroom apartment. 2 of us in the bedroom dorm style and 1 on the futon in the living room. Of course this was when getting a job was a ridiculous concept and all 3 of us sold bud. What a time college was. We took to hand washing over using the laundromat. Dang, washer dryer were $2.50 a piece. Got ourselves a laundry plunger and a drying rack and did that crap the old fashioned way for about a year. Little bit of exercise, too. I didn't want to heat my house in freezing temps in the middle of winter so I slept in a closet in the smallest room in my house with a space heater with my girlfriend at the time. Still with her 6 years later. This was like 4 months into the relationship lol. When my husband and I just had our first baby, we basically lived in the small bedroom during the winter. He had his PC gaming setup in there and we put the mattress on the floor with a bassinet. His gaming setup heated the room nicely and we ended up just staying in there. Took shifts with the baby. It was actually kinda nice. I used a workmate who's in university to register for Adobe products. He has an education email account so I got a bunch of 3-year subs for free. Let me tell you about the miracle called pasta. For $4 I can feed my family of 6. If we're gonna be ballers that week I'll up that meal to $8 by getting some Italian sausage or ground beef. And the kids only start to be about it after the 4th or 5th time in a row. When I was pretty broke and busy because the kids were toddlers I often made boxed shells and cheese with a bag of frozen peas and carrots and a can of tuna mixed in. I recently learned that the kids think of it as a special meal that they now request as teenagers and want to share with their friends. Hidden $20 somewhere I know I won't look in a while. Then sent an email to my future self through Future eMorg to remind myself where it is. See, I should have thought of this. Teenage me definitely hid $20 in places I haven't thought to look, and now I'm broke and could really use it. I randomly go through boxes of old stuff just poking around for spare cash, lol. Not me, but my dad. When he first moved out to California, he was living out of a car for a month or so. Most days, he would go to his local McDonald's, pick out a couple of ketchup packets, and that was his meal for the day, along with a cup of water. He was super broke for a while. It's pretty gross. My mom, and now my favorite answer to the question what's for dinner, is ketchup soup. I've never had to eat it, but it was threatened often. I know my mom and dad ate it a couple times when we were going through a particularly rough period. Collect condiment packets whenever I go out, then squeeze or dump them into my old containers so I appear to be a normal person to anyone who asks for condiments at my house. I was ridiculously broke for a bit after kicking a roommate out, but I had most of a flat of Campbell's tomato soup still, and I learned how to make bread using flour, salt, baking soda, and water. Also learned how to make homemade crackers. Think I lived like that for 3 or 4 weeks. Regularly not make lunch and go down to the nutrition room for patients and make myself a peanut butter and jelly sandwich at work for free. I've started eating lunch at work too. I'm a nanny and of course they're like, feel free to eat any of our food, but they buy healthy stuff and I just wanna eat junk. I sucked it up and started eating their healthy food one, because it's good for me too. Dang, I'm saving a lot of money by not paying for lunch. Teacher here. I used to have my students put their unwanted lunch items in a donation box. At the end of the day I would choose my dinner from that box. As a student, I can tell you that most of that has been on the ground. My workplace had a basket of toilet rolls, so I took a few each month. Only for the period of 6 months. I only used about 2 rolls in a month. The VP of my company was busted doing this. Guy made over $400K a year and lost his job for some free rolls of TP. When I lived in San Diego, I lived next to SeaWorld. Through my employer I got a free season pass to SeaWorld. I got an email that they were doing some promo where every time that you went, you got a free drink, entree, and dessert or appetizer if you spent something like $70 for most of the year. Don't remember the exact price. I went to SeaWorld 2x a week strictly for meals. Most of the food wasn't bad. I got each meal down to like $3. Change my work schedule to get in at 9:30 and leave at 6:30 after rush hour, to save gas and stress on the commute home. I did that, but I would start at 7 and finish at 4/4:30. Yes, I have to start earlier, but I also get home earlier, so I'm good. Go to timeshare presentations to get $100 gift cards. My husband acts like he wants it, then I tell him at the end that we can't afford it. If I'm going out drinking and want to spend under a set amount, I only take cash. I'll leave my credit and debit cards at home. If I run out of money, I stop drinking even if I don't want to stop. I also tell my friends to not let me convince them to buy me something and let me Venmo them. INB for your mom. So, I didn't want to pay full retail for certain subscription services, so I applied to a college that waived my application fee, got accepted, got issued my @edu email address and got my discounted stuff. Saved me a good chunk so far. You were too smart for that school anyway. Boss told me to throw out 200 lamps from an event, scrapped it and bought lunch for me and my navigator friend. Save my Starbucks cup and get 0.99 refill the next day. I now razor shave my head once or twice a week in lieu of buying haircuts. I'll let my hair grow a bit until the end of my weekend or until I have a special event coming up, then I shave it all off. I'm not going bald or anything. I just happen to enjoy not spending $14 on the regular to keep myself from looking like a total dork. I've been shaving my head for over 3 years now, and in all I've saved over $1,000 in haircuts alone, which I've promptly blown on fast food and video games. I never said IWA good at saving money, simply good at finding ways to direct it toward my hobbies. I mean, Sometimes I don't leave the house because if there's an emergency I might not have enough gas money or Uber money to get home. I filled out IPSAS questionnaires on essay.com to collect points and get Amazon gift cards. Not worth the time at all. But if you're in high school and have some game running on the side, I made around €100 over 5 years with it. Eventually it became too frustrating that after sitting for 3 minutes on a survey it tells you that you don't fit their target group. Now I have enough work and value my time better. I started an argument with my little brother a day before his birthday so I wouldn't have to buy him birthday present because I was too mad at him. He didn't fall for my BS and still demanded one. In college I used to get a foot-long Subway sandwich at the beginning of the week and divide it into 5 pieces to have for dinner every school night. My ex used to steal those large toilet paper rollers from college off the wall. Don't ask me how she did it. They started putting locks on them, so she started stealing the entire thing. In deck, I would go on my deck diet, bread, milk, cheese, butter, eggs, PB&J and cereal. So I had money for gifts. You can make a lot with those ingredients. Short term, pack all my lunches when I was doing office work. Long term, cooking, preparing all my meal. I seldom go out to dinner. I can prepare better food at home than most restaurants, and healthier, better quality too. I lived in my tent in the state forests near Penn State for a full semester instead of getting an apartment. I got a gym membership so that I would have a locker and a shower on campus. Honestly, it was one of my best living arrangements. Biggest issue was I couldn't exactly bring a girl home. To keep the roof over my head for the time being, I've stopped buying food beyond the stuff critical to live. Beans, rice, water. Phew, it gets old fast though. Don't use a dryer to dry your clothes. Hang them on a line. Actually that's just what we do here in Australia, if you have a yard anyway. I also have an indoor clothes rack for when I can't dry stuff outside. I've actually lived most of my life without a dryer. Many people here just don't have them. I understand this was standard practice in the US and Canada, but people stopped using clotheslines after dryers became common, whereas we just kept using them. My grandma just doesn't wash her hands after she goes to the bathroom. We attribute it to her having lived through the Great Depression, but she doesn't even do it when she's at my parents' house. My grandparents had so many weird quirks that were undeniably a result of surviving the Great Depression. Never occurred to me how much soap and water I'd save if I stopped washing my hands. I saved so much money by refusing to buy any textbooks during my 4 years of uni. That's right, any. My method went like this. 1. Pirated PDFs. I made friends with people who had already taken the course. That's by far the easiest way to get PDFs. Otherwise, an exhaustive internet search is still worth the more than $100 saved. I always spent at least an hour looking. 2. Borrowing from friends' library copies. Inconvenient but still works relatively well. Can also visit the study office hours. They usually have copies with them if you just need a pick of the homework problems. 3. Groveling to the professor for a copy. It worked surprisingly well, especially in my major, engineering, where the professor often has extra copies lying around, is friends with the person who wrote the book, or simply wrote it themselves. I was even emailed half of the newest version once because my old PDF didn't have the same problems. They'll often be willing to snap a pic of the pages necessary. 4. Groveling to the professor over the access code fees for online homework. This is the hardest one to get around, and total BS, IMO, but some were willing to contact the university or the publisher and explain they had a student with financial hardship. I got about half of those fees waived, so I only paid like $200 total for those, I think. Please don't buy new textbooks. It's a total rip-off, and the vast majority of professors are willing to help you out if you're actually a good student and explain your situation. And if they demand you buy the newest version of their textbook, at least split it between 3-4 of your classmates and share. Sharing is easy with phones. Or if you just need it for homework problems, buy one copy and share the problems with the whole class for a small fee. People are willing to pay $10 instead of $200. So you might make some money for simply taking decent pictures. It was a lot harder to do this at community college. for some reason, even though those are the students that need their money the most. Frick textbook companies. When I was a senior in high school, I would go to McDonald's while they were busy, happen to be on my way home, and order a large Coke. They would always get the orders mixed up and I'd end up with a bunch of food for $1. I never knew what I'd be getting for lunch. Yes, I know I'm a scumbag. I strictly only use pre-touchscreen phones. They are stronger, cheaper, and easier to replace. Oh, and for those who wear women's pants, fits way easier in the pockets. I try to spend less than $3 for my lunches. Jack in the Box has 2 tacos for just over $1. 2 orders of tacos makes a great lunch. Also, I never order a soda. Always water. Water, healthy. As of now, starving. Cheaper to eat 1 meal a day. I also do not own a refrigerator, oven, or even have electricity at the moment. Help. Our dryer broke a few years ago and the part my husband needed to fix it wouldn't arrive for 3 weeks. I had no desire to cart baskets of wet, heavy clothes to the laundromat, so I bought an outdoor umbrella clothesline and used that. Luckily it was summer. By the time the part came and the dryer was fixed, a month had passed and I got my electric bill. There was definitely a difference. I do a lot of laundry, so now, every summer, I hang almost everything out on the line. Eat McDonald's 3x a week to the point my heart burns, but I'm a 102 pound 20-year-old 5'3" girl. Hopefully my health doesn't give out. I turned off my electric hot water heater. Now I'm used to the savings and it would be hard to go back. Trying to be a survivalist. College wanted me to pay $100 plus for some silly software. Signed up for the 10-day free trial. Knocked out the whole course. Profit. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.